Hi, today I'm going to show you how to tie an egg loop on a single hook. And once we tie the egg loop, I'm also going to build a rig that is designed to be fished in places like the Ninilchik River, Ship Creek in Anchorage, Lake Creek over off of the Yetna system, Anchor River, or any place where you have moving water. You can either use this as a back bouncing rig or a rig that can be fished on the bottom, and in some cases even floated under a bobber. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you what an egg loop looks like. And this here is just a Gamakatsu hook, and this one here has an egg loop already tied to it, so you can see what the finished product will look like. And what we'll do is I'll show you how the egg loop works and then how we'll tie other rigs to it. The knot can be a little bit tricky. That one there I tied just ahead of time to kind of show you what it would look like. But what I'm going to do is, first thing I'm going to do is pull a section of leader. And the line that I'm using for this today just happens to be what I like for tying strong leaders. This is a P line. It's 30 pound. You can go lighter or than this. I was using 25 last year quite a bit, but just too many fish were getting away, so I decided to go a little larger. What I tend to do on an egg loop system, I'm going to tie an egg loop today that has these hooks here are Matsuo's. I tend to use owner hooks, Gamakatsu's. The owners are a little bit sharper and I think more durable. But if you're looking for a good quality hook, this is a size 2 Matsuo hook. And I like, if you're gonna tie a double hook setup, I tend to use a smaller hook like a 2 on the bottom hook, and then the top hook above that I tend to want to use a number 3 or a little bit larger. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to thread a line through the eye of the hook like so. The next thing, I just keep a little tail that's down at the bottom, and what we want to do is wrap this around the shank of that hook, and I do 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You pinch it with your fingers so you don't let that go, and what we have to do is we need to thread the original line back through the eye of the hook. I tend to use about a 36-inch leader, so you have plenty to work with, and do what you wish to do with it. So there's the egg loop already forming. You can see it's already there. Now the first thing you do is, I tend to use my fingers in a twisting motion, but we want to get our fingers into this like so, and then I give one twist. You can see that I have one twist going into the line. The first thing I want to do here is I want to hook underneath, and then again I'm going to twist it and hook the hook through that twist on the inside. I do this 5 or 6 times. Once you've done that, you can then pull the line tight, and if you watch closely you'll see that hook start to cinch up, and sometimes you'll have to actually pull on the tail to straighten it out. And what you end up with is an egg loop that looks like something like this, where the knot is sort of cinched, where you have 10 here and about 5 on the bottom. But if I push it through, you can see that line is already able to come right through that hook. You can put bait through here, you can put yarn, and a number of other things. So that's the first hook. The second thing I like to do is, on this setup, if you can look over here, I've got some different corkies. And so what I want to do above this first hook, the small hook, is I want to pick a corky out that'll float that hook. And so we'll pick a smaller one here. I try to use the smallest one possible. I'll set this down. And what I'm going to do on here is I'm actually going to thread the corky onto the line, and where it leaves this is you've got this corky and it's free floating on the line. You can see it can slide back and forth. Now we want to tie the second hook, and so what I'm grabbing here is a number 3, and you can see the difference in size. This is the 3, this is the 2, and it's just slightly larger. And what I'm going to do is thread this number 3 onto the line by putting the piece through there, and I'm just pulling it up. And what we've got here now is the lower hook and an upper hook. The distance between these two hooks, yeah, I just guess it, but usually about 3 inches. So the two hooks, keep them 3 inches apart. The next thing I want to do is do the same process. I'm going to wrap 10 wraps around this top hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Got the 10 wraps, and then I'm going to feed the line back through like so. So I'm already creating this loop again. A little bit different. This one's a little more complex. So in order to do the correct number of wraps here, I still have to put my fingers in, spread the line, and then the first thing I want to do though is I want to dump both of the hooks through this loop. 1, 2, 3, it's a little tricky, 4, and then the next thing I'm going to do is tighten this up, and if you can see me cinch those, we end up with a double egg loop setup. And now I have 2 hooks 3 inches apart with something sliding a floater in here. So when this is in the water, it actually keeps the second hook up, and depending on what you put above this hook here, the top hook, will determine how this performs. Now one of the things I like to do is I'll put another small corky. In this case I'll use a large corky and slide it onto the line as well. And then we end up with our final rig. And now we have a double egg loop setup with 2 corkies. And it gives a little buoyancy here in the lower, gives a lot of buoyancy here. This will actually float in the water, something like so. With the current, it'll kick this lower one out. And you can put your eggs on either. I tend to put the eggs on this particular setup on the top hook. Just open the egg loop, put your eggs in, and then when you pull it tight, it'll pull those eggs closed right up to the top of that hook. And that's it.